Unit 4, Lesson 8, percent of increase and decrease with equations. I can solve percent of increase and decrease problems by writing an equation to represent a situation and solving it. All right, so they want us to match the equations. So it says the water level in a reservoir is now 52 meters. This was a 23% increase. What was the initial depth? Okay, so we know that if we're going based off of yesterday's lesson, oops, I need to turn my drawing tool. If we're going based on yesterday's lesson, this would be 123, right? So that would give me 52. They want to know what the initial depth was. So I have to figure out how I'm going to get that answer. Well, I know that if I solve these equations through division, I'm going to be able to get an idea of how to do it. So let's solve them through division. So I'm going to divide by 23, or 0.23, I'm sorry. So 52 divided by 0.23. And I get 226. Well, if this is an increase and they're at 52 meters now, I know it can't be this one. And I'm betting it's not going to be the next one. So 52 divided by 0.77. So again, that's making it larger. Okay, so let's try the next one. 52 divided by 1.23. I get 42.2, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that seems a little more reasonable. So I'm thinking it's going to be that one. So let's try 52 divided by 1.77. I get 29. Well, that's only half as much, and this only increased by 23%. So I'm going with 1.23 equals 52. So how do I know? I solved each and looked for a reasonable answer. So that was my justification. I also know that 100 plus 23, if I change these into decimals, it would be 1 plus 0.23. So I get 1.23. Okay, so the snow is now 52 inches deep. So 52 inches deep. This is a 77% decrease. What was the initial depth? So that's a decrease of 77%. So 100 minus 77 would give me 23, right? So then if I'm doing 100%, that would be 177, right? 177. I'm sorry, that wouldn't be 177. That would be 100%. And I want to figure out how deep it is. So I know that I can use my strategy where I divide. So I'm thinking it's going to be one of these ones with 23 in it. But let's check. So 52 divided by 23. I'm sorry, divided by 0.23. I get 226. So it's going to work out to be the same kind of numbers. So 52 divided by 0.77, I get 67. Then if I do 52 divided by 123, I'm going to get 42. And then 52 divided by 1.77. I'm going to get 29. So each time I divided them, I got my answers, right? So I'm looking for a reasonable answer. Now this is a 77% decrease. So that means it's got to increase to be 100%. So it's not going to be this one or this one. So I've got to think a 77% increase. So that's, you know, more than 50% more, right? So 50% more would be you know, a whole 25 extra inches. And this is just 50%. So we're going to go with the first one. So how do I know? It's the most reasonable answer, right? Because this is more than 3 times the amount. Because well, it's more than 4 times the amount, I should say. Because 23 times 4 is about 100. So it's 226. So how do we know? Solved each question. %, times 4 is about 100%. So 52 times 4 is about 226. All right, let's take a look at the next one. So this is just like yesterday. So the gas tank holds 12 gallons of gas, and we figured out that they were counting by sixes. So they said, why does explain why the situation can be represented by 1.5 times 12 equals T. And then make sure you explain what T represents. So T represents the amount the tank holds, or the amount the truck holds. So the amount of gas the truck holds. So why does this work? Because you're doing 100% plus 50%, right? So you're doing 1 plus 0.5 equals 1.5 times 12, because that's the original amount. So the 1.5, remember when you're changing percents to decimals, you move the decimal 2 places. So if you have 100%, you move the decimal two places to the left. So 50, you're moving it 2 places to the left. All right, so a movie theater popcorn bag. So remember we figured out that this was 15 here, and we divided it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that meant that this was not 30. 3. So we were counting by threes. 3, 6, 9, 12, and then we got 18. And it says write an equation to represent the situation. Well, I'm multiplying by 80%, right? So I'm going to do 0.8, because if I have 80%, I move the decimal 2 places over. So 80% times 15, because that was the original amount. And I'm going to get the amount of popcorn. So P represents popcorn in cups. Should probably move my decimal over a little bit. There you go. All right, so the next one says, after a 25% discount, the price of a shirt was $12. What was the price before the discount? So if you remember, we put 12 here, we divided it by 3. And counting by fours. So we figured out that the end price was 16, right? So we know that after a 25% discount, it was $12. So it's going to be 100 plus 25 to get the original. So I'm going to check it in my calculator, make sure this works. Yep. So we end up with 1.25 times 12. That's not going to work because that only gets me 15. So let's try again. So we don't want to add 25%. So let's think of what else we could do, because we're trying to get to 16. So if I wanted to write an equation, I know I have to use the 12. So I have to think, okay, what's going to get me 16? So let's try putting our percentage here. So we're going to call that the discount. So let's try dividing by 12. So 16 divided by 12 would get me 1 1/3. So I know that because I'm multiplying, because each part is 1/3. So 1/3, 1/3. So each part is 1/3 to get to the 100%. So I'm multiplying by 1.3 repeating times 12, and that's going to get me my price of my shirt. So P represents price of the shirt. All right, and let's try the last one. So compared to last year, the population had increased by 25%. The population is now 660. So that was 6,600. I said that wrong. So I'm dividing by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in my calculator, I'm going to put that in because I really don't remember off the top of my head what it was yesterday. I get 1,320. So then that's going to mean 2,640, 3,960, 5,280. All right, so if this was an increase of 25, right, I think we're going to make it 75. But let's try it. So we'll say our population times 6,600 equals 5,280. So we're going to divide by 6,600 on each side. So 5,280 divided by 6,600, and I get 80%. So let's look at why. Because if this is 100, that would be 80, 60, 40, 20. That's why. Because if I make this my new 100%, so my new equation is going to be 80% times 6,600 equals the population. So now they're asking you, a pair of designer sneakers was purchased for $120. Since they were purchased, their prices increased by 15%. What is their new price? So you have to be able to tell me the new price and write an equation. So there are 2 steps to this. Need help? You can go on Khan Academy. Mr. Morgan has a video. Contact a study buddy, or set up an appointment with me on Monday or Tuesday at 3:45.